Before I hit that, let me just run. We have a net question. Any carriers that will do a client that had an aneurysm 2 years ago? Okay, so great question. So let's go to our product pocket guide or our underwriting grid. So let's first look at final expense. So I assume that that's a final expense, because anyone with an aneurysm. So
Actually, Alex, sorry. The client that I have in mind, she's actually 30 years old. She had the surgery 2 years ago, so it's not final expense.
oh, it's not final expense.
No, she's a young lady. She's 30 years old and she had an aneurysm surgery 2 years ago.
Okay, so
The last time I tried for her, the last carrier I talked to said I had to wait either 3 or 4 years after the surgery before we can entertain it. So I was just wondering if you have any other carriers that does stuff like that.
yeah, that's a good question. So, so what I would do is I would do kind of an analogous using mortgage term, because mortgage term will give you an idea.
Okay.
So, okay, so this tells me whether or not you can get at least simplified issue term, which also will tell me if they can get simplified issue universal life or index universal life. And so notice like American Amicable, Easy Term, et cetera, decline if ever, Americo decline, CFG Safe Shield in past 10 years. So that kind of starts to give us a profile of what underwriting thinks about aneurysms on a term policy, which is like a UL or IUL policy. Past 10 years for foresters. Okay, Prosperity Life, past 5 years. Okay, so now we're getting a little bit more. Prosperity will do 5 years. So if she's 3 years, doesn't look like any of the term simplified issue term will cover her. So what do you do? What's the alternative? Well, the alternative is to see if we can do a fully underwritten policy through either Transamerica or we can do Transamerica, but I hate working with them. So I would think about calling Forrester's Your Term or Mutual of Omaha's Term Life Answers. So I would call Mutual of Omaha and ask them, hey, got a 30-year-old aneurysm surgery 3 years ago, 4 years ago. What would she be rated, or could she apply for fully underwritten? Okay. And then find out what they say. And they'll tell you probably what maybe the other carriers told you, she's got to wait 5 years or whatever. But here's the thing. If Prosperity is willing to do it 5 years, there could be a fully underwritten term that will do it for lower number of years. Okay. So maybe 3, 4 years. So it's worth giving. I would give Forrester's a call for their Your Term product. I would give Mutual of Omaha a call for their Term Life Answers, fully underwritten term product. Those are really the only two. There might be some other ones. I'm not like American Amicable or America. I'm not sure if they do have fully underwritten, but that's the way I would go with that. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.